Scotland, BBC Radio Scotland this Friday morning. How not to run a major project. That's the damning appraisal of the UK government's handling of HS2 rail scheme. It comes from an influential group of MPs who make up the Public Accounts Committee. Well, the Labour MP for Stirling and Strathallan is Chris Kane. He's on the committee. Good morning.
Good morning, Lucy.
So what did the report find?
Well, it summarises it very well in the opening line of the report. The High Speed 2 programme has become a casebook example of how not to run a major project. The Public Accounts Committee has been looking at this over the last 13 years, and it's doing a metaphorical shake of its head every time that this subject goes back to the committee. It's got cost overruns, it's not working very well together with the various parts that are tasked with delivering it. It's had to seek 8,276 consents from different planning departments up and down the country. Spent £100 million on a tunnel to help bats get across the line. It's was supposed to cost 40 billion. It looks like it's going to cost 80 billion, and it's not going to get to Manchester where it was expected to get. It's only going to get to Birmingham. So back to what we said at the beginning, a programme that's become a casebook example of how not to run a major project.
And Chris, people will this morning be thinking, okay, well, we knew this so far from the coverage that they'll have seen about HS2 and just how much has been spent. And as you say, it's not going to get to where it was hoped to get to. So the point, I would imagine, of reports like this is to make sure it doesn't happen again. So what has been found that is going to stop it happening again, and what lessons could be learned?
Well, the committee is no longer trying to get the best rail service it can. It's basically trying to say to the government, you must now move on to getting the best value out of the mess for the taxpayer. The government, this is all done in the previous government, so that the current government, I think when you heard the Transport Secretary say before Christmas, we need to get a handle on planning consents. That's one of the things, because it's taking too long to build these big infrastructure projects. But what Department for Transport has said, and HS2 Limited, is they need a fundamental reset. The committee said, but you've had enough of them. Can you please make this one work? And when we heard the evidence at the session, we kept getting these assurances, and we said, right, okay, you're going to have to write to us and set a plan of how you're going to do this, because we're fed up hearing you say, yes, we agree with you, this is not working, we're going to do better the next time.
Okay, so you're looking for a concrete plan then, and how this is going to be avoided happening the next time.
Oh, a concrete plan of how they're going to minimise the money that's going to be required to get what we've agreed is going to be a smaller project finished.
Okay, so just getting to the end point is what you're looking for a plan. Are we at the stage at all, Chris, where we can start to learn lessons yet, or even, dare I say it, point the finger of blame?
Well, HS2 have appointed a new, just in the last 2 or 3 weeks, they've appointed the man that ran Crossrail to do this, Mark Wilde. Now, Mark Wilde's only been in post for 3 weeks. Mark Wilde and Crossrail had a sort of Crossrail had a rocky start, and then it got better. So hopefully they've got Mark in place now who can learn the lessons from Crossrail, which was another big infrastructure project, and he can do this. But he was pretty honest with the committee, and he said, it's going to take me a year to 18 months before we get a proper plan. He has got an idea of what he thought has gone wrong and what needs to change. But the committee said, well, that's fine, but we now need evidence. So you've got until the summer to give us a proper plan, and we need confidence from that. But given what we've had over the last 12 years of this, the committee's at the end of its tether with this one. We just don't have confidence. But let's wait and see. The cost estimates are that this, we've put aside 40 billion to do it, might be 80 billion. These figures are staggering that we're talking about. It's really important. This is public money. This is your taxes that's paying for this, and we need to make sure that we get the best value we can and the most learning, because if we're going to do big infrastructure projects like this, it cannot be done like HS2 has been.
Yeah, the committee talked about reputational risk potentially to the UK because of how this has been handled.
Absolutely. When you look around the world at how big infrastructure projects are done, they seem to be done just a little bit easier than they have here. I think this government has got a handle on some of the things it needs to change. And again, go back to what I said earlier, when the government said, no, this is for England, not for Scotland, when it's changing some of the planning or it's bringing forward changes to the planning, it should make it easier to build these big infrastructure projects. On the famous BAT tunnel, which is a big tunnel that goes over about 1 kilometre of the railway to allow bats to fly over it, so they're not going to hit the trains as they're trying to fly about their business. It's £100 million that's been spent on this tunnel. Now, it's a great tunnel. It's a feat of engineering, but the committee's saying we have to strike a balance between getting things right for the environment and getting things right for the taxpayer. Okay. And it's challenged it just to say, do a bit better in striking that balance. And to be fair, Department of Transport agrees with that.